Hi everyone and welcome to today's morning report on Wednesday the 15th of October with me, Richard Perry, market analyst at Handtech Markets. We've had a bit of a strange open actually to the European trading session because there was a bit of a rebound yesterday on Wall Street, although it did actually ultimately end up closing pretty much flat on the day, just slightly higher. We have seen a bit of a turnaround in some of the risk sentiment, an improvement certainly being shown through by the Forex markets and gold really. Gold starting to come lower and the Japanese yen, for example, starting to correct, dollar yen started to pull higher. So that just suggests an improvement in sentiment that we've seen. But interesting in the fact that we've had equity markets in the European session start pretty much flat, but just accelerate sharply to the downside. Again, FTSE's now off 1.4%, DAX down 0.6%, but CAC's basically flat. So I think it's the reason for that is possibly to do with M&A related activities. Certainly Shire, for example, which is an M&A stock under potential bid opportunity, is down 20 odd %. So I think it's more to do with that. But certainly it's a bit of a disappointing start, certainly for these stocks, and that comes despite the fact that we had a bit of a on the VIX yesterday, the volatility gauge that for the S&P 500 options started to fall back again, and that followed on from that sharp 50 odd % move higher in the VIX, but it started to pull back 7.5% to the downside. So that came amid that support that we had on Wall Street. Now, also, I said earlier about the currencies, and the dollar index is starting to pull higher again. It's just been consolidating sideways, fairly volatile still though, but it looks to be just starting to push higher, and I should talk about that in some of my currency pairs in a bit. But the trading indicators that we've got today that are going to have an impact on these currencies and markets start off with the UK unemployment at 9:30. Now, the big gauge of unemployment at the moment that people are interested in, unemployment continues to fall in the UK. That's fine. 6.1% is the expectation there, but it's wages growth that the market is really looking out for. 0.7% last time, actually forecast to come in slightly higher at 0.8% today at 9:30. But the Bank of England needs to see wage growth, or needs to see the beginnings of wage growth in order to start to think about raising interest rates. And I think until that is seen, that the Monetary Policy Committee are going to remain fairly dovish. So that is going to be the important gauge to come out of that report. And then at 1:30 you've got the US retail sales. It's actually forecast to come in again slightly down, 0.1%. But to be honest, the retail sales are they're a fairly decent gauge of the American economy, because 70% of the American economy is consumer driven, so it is looked upon as a fairly important gauge. But it'll be interesting to see if that is beaten, considering the improvement in the confidence indicators that we've seen in the States. That takes me to my chart today, which is Euro Yen. Again, this is sort of looking at that theme of improvement in sentiment, and we've seen, although we did have a sharp move down to the downside yesterday, overnight we've seen a bit of a recovery in the Euro Yen, and that suggests a move away from the Japanese yen. Now, what is this doing to the chart? Well, I've gone quite a long way back here, well over a year, just to show you that basically Euro Yen has been trading above this 135.50 mark for over a year, and it's basically been trading sideways all throughout this period, and the momentum indicators reflect that. The RSI is sort of back to 30, and every time it gets back towards 30 it starts to rebound again. Stochastics, similar sort of move, and the MACD lines are just now going below neutral, so it would suggest fairly benign momentum indicators, not really indicative of a big breakdown of that support. So I'm not really expecting this to go much lower, and even overnight that support seems to have come in. with around that 135 big figure. So if this recovery in euro yen is to continue, it needs to break above certainly that key resistance on the upside at 136.50 there or thereabouts, and that is the first real test that this recovery would see. Obviously a break back below 135 would be a disappointment, and as there are a couple of higher lows that we've seen in the overnight period. Anyway, I think that as I said, the longer term trend of sideways movement on euro yen will ultimately hold out, and I think that it will continue to trade in this big sideways band. So I wish you good luck in your trading on euro yen today, and I will speak to you later. Thank you.